One thing most women overlook, but it makes men truly feel loved. Carl Jung. What if I told you there's one thing men need to feel truly loved, and it's not what you think? It's not sex, it's not compliments, it's not even your loyalty. Most women completely miss this because men will never ask for it outright. In fact, they'll often deny they want it at all. But when a woman gives it to him without forcing, fixing, or demanding anything in return, his entire emotional world shifts. He'll feel something so rare, so grounding, that he'll begin to associate you with peace, with trust, with home. This is the kind of connection that makes a man choose a woman not just for now, but forever. Because the truth is, it's not about what you do for him, it's about how he feels around you. And there's one emotional need he craves more than anything else. But society never taught women how to give this, because men were taught not to show they needed it. That's why you see so many emotionally unavailable relationships, hot and cold dynamics, and women asking, "Why does he pull away just when I thought we were getting closer?" It's not random, it's not you, and it's definitely not because he doesn't care. Here's the truth. Men have a secret emotional craving, but it's buried beneath layers of silence, distraction, and pressure to be the strong one. And the moment he feels it, the real version of it, not only does he feel safe, but he also starts opening up. He becomes more affectionate, more committed, and more connected. Because emotional safety, truly, emotional safety is the hidden switch in a man's heart that makes him stop guarding himself and start bonding with you. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to create this feeling for him. And no, it doesn't require being perfect, overly nurturing, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's actually much simpler and far more powerful. Once you understand the moment it happens and the way it happens, you'll be able to turn those moments when he pulls away into moments of closeness and connection. You'll stop second-guessing yourself. You'll stop wondering if he cares. And you'll start seeing the way he lights up when he feels truly seen by you. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what men secretly crave, but you'll also know how to become the one woman who gives it to him without ever chasing, fixing, or trying too hard. Because the truth is, once you unlock this, he'll never want to let you go. Let's dive in. Society tells men to be strong, silent, and unemotional. So women assume they don't need tenderness. But here's the shocking truth. Men crave emotional safety more than anything. They just don't know how to ask for it. Let's break down the biggest myth that keeps relationships stuck. That men don't need emotional care. That they're fine as long as they're provided for, respected, and sexually fulfilled. This idea is so ingrained in our culture that most women don't even question it. You hear things like, men are simple. Guys just want food, sex, and space. He's not emotional like we are. But here's the hidden truth. Men feel just as deeply as women, sometimes even more. But they've been taught to bury it. They've been conditioned to disconnect from their emotional selves to survive in a world that labels vulnerability as weakness. From a young age, boys are told, man up, don't cry, stop being sensitive. So they learn to build walls. They learn to hide their emotional needs. They learn to cope in silence, even when they're hurting, overwhelmed, or insecure. And here's where the disconnect begins. Because while women are usually taught to express and explore their feelings, men are taught to contain and suppress them. This creates a silent gap in relationships. A misunderstanding. That leads women to believe men don't want tenderness or emotional support, when in reality, they need it more than anything. But here's the catch. They don't know how to ask for it. In fact, asking for it would violate the very identity they were raised to uphold. So they stay silent, they avoid, they distract. and they act like everything's fine, even when they're falling apart inside. This is why you might notice he shuts down when you ask how he feels. He says nothing's wrong when he's clearly not okay. He gets angry or distant instead of expressing sadness or vulnerability. It's not because he doesn't trust you. It's because he doesn't trust the world to hold his vulnerability without judgment. A recent 2023 study published in Psychology Today found that 72% of men actively hide their emotional needs. Not because they don't feel them, but because they're afraid of being seen as weak or inadequate. Let that sink in. Nearly 3 out of 4 men are walking around with unmet emotional needs they feel too ashamed to express. And the sad irony? Most women want nothing more than to support their partner emotionally. But the moment he closes off, she assumes he just doesn't open up to me. He's emotionally unavailable. Maybe he doesn't care as much as I do. This misunderstanding leads to frustration on both sides. She feels pushed away. He feels misunderstood. And both end up emotionally alone, even though they care about each other deeply. But here's the breakthrough. Emotional safety is the key. When a man feels emotionally safe, something extraordinary happens. He lets his guard down. He shows you who he really is. Under the toughness, under the silence, he becomes softer, more affectionate, more open, and more loyal. Because once he experiences that kind of acceptance, where he doesn't have to perform, fix, or pretend, he feels free. But this doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen because you ask him 1,000 questions, or tell him you're there for him, or try to decode his moods. It happens in a specific kind of moment, a moment that most people miss. It's not the loud, emotional conversations. It's not the heart-to-hearts after arguments. It's not even the romantic nights out. It's when he's quiet, withdrawn, checked out. It's in the moments where he's saying nothing at all. That's when he's most vulnerable. But because he's not showing normal signs of emotion, women often misread it. They think he's pulling away. They think something's wrong in the relationship. They think they've done something wrong, so they try harder. They ask questions. They push. They press. They talk. But he's not looking for solutions. He's not even looking for answers. What he's silently begging for is safety, the space to feel what he's feeling without being interrogated or rushed to explain. Because for a man, being vulnerable is terrifying. Not because he doesn't trust you, but because he's never been taught it's okay to let go, that someone could actually love him. Not in spite of his emotions, but because he shares them. This is the emotional hunger most women never see. And when you recognize it, when you become the one person who understands this unspoken need, that's when everything changes. Because while men may never say it, what they truly crave deep down, it is a safe place to rest their heart. And that place can be you. It's not about grand gestures. It's about this specific moment where you can make him feel truly seen without judgment. Picture this. He walks in the door after a long day. He's unusually quiet. He drops his keys, shrugs off his jacket, and sits down without a word. You can feel something's off. So naturally, you ask, what's wrong? Are you okay? Talk to me. You mean well. You want to connect. You want to help. But instead of opening up, he retreats further. Maybe he brushes you off. He says, I'm fine, or even gets irritable. And now you're left confused. You were just trying to be there. But it feels like he's shutting you out. What just happened? Here's the twist most women never see. His silence isn't rejection. It's not distance. It's not detachment. It's a test. Not a conscious test to manipulate you, but an emotional one. It's the moment he's silently asking, can I be in this space and not be judged? Can I be quiet and still be loved? Can I process what I'm feeling without being expected to explain it? Because for most men, talking about emotions feels like being put on trial. They feel cornered when they're asked why they feel a certain way. They feel pressure to give logical answers to emotional confusion. They feel like if they open the door even a little, they'll lose control of what comes out. So instead of talking, they shut down. Not because they don't want connection, but because they don't know how to safely move toward it. This is the hidden need, a space to feel, without needing to explain. Let's be real, he might not even know what he's feeling yet. Sometimes he's angry. But underneath that, he's actually scared. Or he's withdrawn, but underneath that, he's ashamed. But society hasn't given him the tools to navigate that, so he sits in silence. Here's where most women get it wrong. They assume silence is the enemy, that if he's not talking, something's wrong with the relationship. But often he's not upset with you at all. He's just asking, in his own quiet way, can you sit with me, even when I have nothing to give you back? And this moment, right here, it is the doorway. Because when a woman doesn't push, doesn't probe, doesn't try to fix him, but instead just stays, with calm presence, quiet warmth, and zero expectation, that's when he feels it. He may not say it out loud. He may not even realize what just happened. But something deep inside him will soften, because in a world that's always asking him to perform, prove it, and push through, you gave him something radically different. You gave him permission to just be. That's the power of nonverbal safety. It's not in your words, it's in your energy. It's in the way you look at him without trying to change him. It's in the way you sit close without demanding conversation. It's in the way you create space instead of filling it. That one moment where you say nothing, but your presence says everything. I see you. You don't have to be anything for me right now. I'm not going anywhere. That is what he craves. That is what makes a man bond. Not pressure, not questions, not problem solving, just peace, just presence, just patience. It's hard, especially if you're someone who wants to talk things out, who believes that communication equals connection. And yes, in most cases it does. But for men, connection often starts in silence. It's in those quiet moments where he decides subconsciously whether you feel pressure or peace. That's why the same man who wouldn't open up to his ex suddenly pours his heart out to another woman. Not because she's prettier or more interesting, but because she made him feel safe in the moment. He didn't even know he needed it. This doesn't mean you stay silent forever, or that you suppress your own needs. It just means you understand the rhythm of masculine emotion. Here's what that rhythm looks like. 1, he shuts down to process. 2, he watches how you respond. 3, if he feels judged, he withdraws deeper. 4, if he feels accepted, he slowly comes forward. And when he does come forward, that's when he starts sharing. Not just words, but real feelings. That's when the intimacy deepens. That's when he begins to attack. Because emotional safety to a man isn't just comfort, it's a connection. It's the space that allows his love to flow without fear. And when you learn to hold that space, not by saying the right thing, but by simply being the right energy, you become irreplaceable to him. You're not trying to fix him. You're not trying to pull him out. You're just with him, fully present, without needing him to be anything else. And that's the kind of love men don't even realize they have. They're searching until they find it. Here's the exact 3-step method to make him feel safe enough to open up and bond with you on a soul-deep level. You now know that emotional safety is the one thing men secretly crave but rarely receive. Not because women aren't loving, but because the way men need love in their vulnerable moments often looks different than what most women have been taught to give. This is where the shift happens. From understanding what he needs to knowing how to give it. Let's break it down into a simple, powerful 3-step method that any woman can use to create emotional safety in real time. This is the kind of connection building that deepens love, loyalty, and long-term devotion. Step 1, the pause. Let him process without interrogation. When a man withdraws emotionally, whether after a bad day, an argument, or for seemingly no reason, most women feel a rush of anxiety. Silence can feel threatening. The instinct is to fill it with words. What's going on? Why are you quiet? Are you upset with me? These questions come from love. But to a man who's already overwhelmed or unsure of what he's feeling, they can feel invasive. Remember, men are not taught to process emotions through dialogue the way women often are. Instead, they go inward. They try to sort through feelings privately before speaking about them, if they even do at all. So the first step is the pause, a conscious decision to resist the urge to fix, question, or rush the moment. This doesn't mean walking on eggshells or ignoring your own feelings. It means recognizing his silence is not rejection and allowing space for his internal process. Try this instead of interrogating. Offer a calm presence. Sit beside him without pressure. Do something quiet together. Watch a movie. Cook. Walk. Don't make silence mean something negative. In this pause, your stillness is powerful. You're showing him that he doesn't have to perform emotionally for you to stay connected. That alone can disarm his inner defenses and start the trust-building process. Step 2. The signal. A simple phrase that invites honesty without pressure. After creating emotional space, there's a point where he'll start to soften, but he still needs a gentle signal that you're open and safe if he chooses to share. This is where most women go too far, offering advice or pressing too soon. Instead, use the signal, a short, emotionally neutral phrase that invites openness without requiring it. Here's the one to remember. I don't need you to fix anything. I just want to be here with you. This phrase does two powerful things. One, it removes pressure. You're not asking him to talk or solve anything. Two, it reassures him you're not looking for performance, just presence. Why is this so effective? Because it flips the script on every emotional interaction he's used to. He's expecting you to want an explanation. He's expecting emotional labor, but instead, you're offering calm connection, other variations that work. You don't have to explain anything. I'm here if and when you want to talk. You're allowed to feel whatever you're feeling. No pressure. We don't have to talk. Just know, I'm not going anywhere. This language sends a signal straight to his nervous system. You are safe. You are accepted. You are not being judged. That's the moment his walls start to drop. Not because he was forced, but because he chose to. Respond in a way that makes him feel grounded, not exposed. When he finally does open up, even just a little, what you do next is crucial. This is where many women accidentally undo the safety they created. He shares something vulnerable, and the response is, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Well, if you just talk to me more, that's nothing. You should hear about my day. These responses, even if well-meaning, can feel invalidating. It's like he dipped a toe into the water and got splashed in the face. Instead, this is your moment to anchor his vulnerability, to reward emotional openness with emotional safety, to respond in a way that makes him feel grounded, not exposed. Here's how. Stay neutral. Keep your tone warm and calm. Don't rush to dramatize or minimize what he's saying. Validate. Let him know you hear and accept what he shared. Even a simple, "I get that," or "that sounds really hard" is enough. Reaffirm. Remind him that nothing he shares will scare you off or change how you see him. Example, response. "Thank you for telling me that. I know it's not always easy for you. I'm here for you, no matter what." These kinds of responses become anchors in his nervous system. They teach him, over time, that sharing emotions leads to connection, not criticism. And the more often he feels anchored instead of exposed, the more naturally he'll open up. Not just during the hard times, but in everyday connection. You'll notice the changes. He starts initiating deeper conversations. He checks in with you more emotionally. He becomes more affectionate, more thoughtful, more committed. Because in you, he doesn't just see a partner, he sees a refuge. The deeper effect. What you've just learned isn't manipulation. It's not a tactic to get a man to act right. This is emotional leadership, the kind of energy that inspires trust, respect, and intimacy in even the most guarded man. You're not forcing anything. You're simply creating a space where the truth can breathe. And once a man experiences that with you, once he feels like he doesn't have to hide, fix, or earn your love, he bonds with you in a way that goes beyond logic. He feels it in his body. He remembers it every time life gets heavy. And without even realizing it, he starts turning to you, not away from you, in his moments of struggle. That's emotional safety. That's how a lasting connection is built. That's the secret to becoming the woman he never wants to lose. This is why men suddenly marry unexpected women. It's not about looks or cooking. It's about who makes him feel this. You've probably seen it happen. A man dates a woman for years. She's beautiful, smart, and loyal, but never quite commits. He's emotionally distant. He hesitates. He keeps one foot out the door. Then one day, he meets someone else. She's not necessarily prettier. She might not even be as accomplished. But within months, he's all in. Suddenly, he's opening up. He's present. He's planning a future. And everyone around him is asking, what changed? Here's what changed. He finally felt safe. Not safe like she won't cheat. Not safe like she texts back fast. But emotionally safe. The kind of safety that doesn't come from performance or perfection. It comes from presence. It comes from how she made him feel when he was at his most uncertain. Most women think men fall in love because of admiration, attraction, or compatibility. But those are just surface-level triggers. The deep bond, the one that leads to commitment, marriage, and emotional loyalty, comes from feeling like he can fully exhale around you. No judgment, no pressure, no fixing. Just a space where he can let his guard down and feel completely accepted. Let me tell you a real story to show how powerful this is. A real life story. No one's ever let me just be. A woman named Alina came to me, heartbroken. She had been dating her boyfriend for over a year. Everything seemed great. He was attentive, fun, and kind, but emotionally distant. He rarely shared how he felt. When she asked, he'd shut down or give vague answers like, "I'm just tired," or "It's not a big deal." When they had arguments, he'd walk away instead of talking it out. She constantly felt like she was doing all the emotional work. Her instinct? Try harder, ask more, be extra supportive. But it only pushed him further away. One night, after another cold conversation, she decided to do something different. She remembered something I told her. Stop trying to pull him out. Just sit beside him and be still. So the next time he came home quiet, instead of asking questions, she sat on the couch next to him. Didn't speak, didn't force. Just rested her hand gently on his knee. After a few minutes, she said softly, "You don't have to say anything. I just want to be here with you." Silence, a long breath from him. Then something incredible happened. He turned to her with tears in his eyes and whispered, "No one's ever let me just be." He opened up for the first time in their entire relationship, told her how he was exhausted pretending to be okay, how he didn't know how to explain what he was feeling, how he was scared to show weakness because he thought it would make her love him less. That moment was the turning point. He didn't just open up, he shifted. He became warmer, more open. He started initiating emotional conversations, planning their future. A few months later, they were engaged. Not because she chased him, not because she proved her worth, but because of his most guarded moment, she let him feel safe. Why this works. When a man finds emotional safety with a woman, he experiences something most men rarely get: relief. Emotional relief is powerful for a man. It cuts through the noise of his mind. It anchors him. It quiets the pressure he feels to always have it together. And most importantly, it makes him associate you with peace. This is why men often commit to the unexpected woman. She's not the one who tried the hardest or chased the most. She's the one who made him feel calm in a world that constantly demands performance. Men don't fall in love through pressure. They fall in love through peace. If you can be the one place where he feels like he doesn't have to be anyone other than himself, he'll come to you again and again. Not just physically, not just affectionately, but emotionally. Common signs he's feeling it. When a man begins to feel emotionally safe, you'll start to see it in subtle but consistent ways. He lingers longer after conversations. Even if he doesn't say much, he stays close. He seeks your presence and silence. Just sitting with you feels grounding to him. He initiates deeper dialogue. He starts telling you things he normally wouldn't share. He becomes more touch-oriented. Physical closeness becomes a silent form of gratitude. He starts future planning. When he feels emotionally safe, commitment becomes natural, not forced. This isn't magic. It's not a trick. It's a nervous system response to feeling unconditionally accepted. Comment safe if you've ever felt this shift. Now it's your turn. Have you ever had a moment where you didn't push, didn't chase, didn't do, and he opened up on his own? Or maybe you're thinking back to a time where you did push and felt him close off. This isn't about regret. It's about awareness. Because now you know exactly how to create the kind of emotional environment that makes a man feel safe enough to love out loud. So take a moment. If anything here resonated, if you've ever seen a man soften in your presence when you simply let him be, drop a safe in the comments. Because the more we share these stories, the more women can see that emotional safety isn't just a buzzword. It's a bond. The trap most women fall into is, but wait, there's one thing that can ruin all of this. Even if you've created emotional safety, even if he started to open up, there's one common reaction many women have during their stressed moments that can undo all the progress. Most don't even realize they're doing it, but it's the exact opposite of emotional safety. And when it happens, men retreat faster than ever. If you want to hold the bond you've created, if you want him to keep coming to you again and again, you'll want to know this next part. Because it's a mistake even the most loving women make. Let's talk about the trap to avoid. Warning, most women ruin this by doing the opposite when stressed. Never make this mistake, or he'll shut down forever. You've made it this far. You now understand what men secretly crave. You know how to create emotional safety, how to be his calm in the storm, and how to make him feel truly seen. But even with all of that, there's one critical trap that can instantly unravel the connection you've built. This trap doesn't come from bad intentions. It doesn't mean you're doing relationships wrong. In fact, it usually happens when you're the one who feels hurt, overwhelmed, or insecure. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because it comes from your need for connection, clashing with his need for space. Here it is, plain and simple. The trap. Turning your stress into his responsibility. You've probably been there. You're having a rough day. You feel anxious. You start overthinking the relationship, maybe reading into his silence or his lack of enthusiasm. You need reassurance, closeness, or comfort. So you reach out, but not with vulnerability. Instead, it comes out like this. Why are you being so distant? You never make time for me anymore. Do you even care the way you used to? I shouldn't have to ask for attention. Your intention? Connection, clarity, reassurance. But what he hears is, you're failing me. You're responsible for my emotions. You're not enough. Fix this or I'll leave. And the tragic result is, he shuts down fast. Not because he doesn't care, but because now, instead of feeling safe with you, he feels like he's being judged, tested, or emotionally ambushed. This would be especially true if he were already feeling stressed or emotionally distant to begin with. So now, instead of two people trying to come closer, you've got two nervous systems on the defense. Yours, craving closeness and reassurance. His craving space and self-protection. This is how so many couples fall into the push-pull dynamic. She pushes for closeness. He pulls away to breathe. She pushes harder. He goes cold. She spirals. He checks out. The emotional bond weakens. Not because love isn't there, but because safety has been replaced with pressure. Why does this happen? Let's be clear. Your feelings are 100% valid. You deserve support. You deserve affection. You deserve emotional presence. But here's what makes this tricky. Men don't respond to emotional pressure the way women do. Where you might feel closer after talking it out, you might feel cornered. Where you see a plea for connection, he sees an emotional demand. And because most men don't know how to fix emotional discomfort, either yours or their own, they do the only thing they've been taught: shut down. What they're really doing is protecting themselves from shame, failure, and the feeling of not being enough. It's not mature, it's not always fair, but it's real. And the more you push in those moments, the deeper his withdrawal becomes. That's why this trap is so destructive. Not just in the moment, but in the long term. Because if he consistently experiences your emotional needs as accusations or expectations, he stops feeling like you're a safe place, and he starts associating closeness with stress. What to do instead? So how do you get your own needs met without triggering his shutdown? It starts with a shift in energy, from reaction to vulnerability. Instead of, "Why don't you ever make time for me anymore?" try, "I miss feeling close to you." Instead of, "You never open up," "I'm always guessing how you feel." Try, "Sometimes I feel disconnected, and I'd love to hear what's on your mind when you're ready." See the difference? You're not accusing, you're invited. You're not pointing fingers, you're opening a door. You're not making him responsible for fixing your emotions. You're just expressing them honestly, with softness instead of pressure. And that's the key. When a man senses that he can't win, that no matter what he does, it's not enough, he emotionally resigns. But when he feels like he's being invited to connect, rather than tested for it, his resistance fades. The power of owning the moment. Here's a practical technique for those moments when you feel the urge to lash out, blame, or demand. It's called owning the moment. It goes like this. Step 1. Name your feeling, not his failure. "I feel overwhelmed today. I've been feeling kind of insecure lately." Step 2. Take responsibility for the emotion. "I know it's not your job to fix it. I just wanted to share where I'm at. I'm working through it, but I wanted to be honest." Step 3. Create space, not pressure. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted to let you in. I'd love to feel more connected when you're ready." This structure is like a pressure release valve for both of you. You get to be authentic. He gets to stay open. No emotional landmines. No fear of saying the wrong thing. Just space for honest connection. A client's turnaround story. A woman named Jessa reached out to me. She'd been with her boyfriend for 2 years. He had started to distance himself emotionally, and she felt like every conversation turned into a fight. Her old pattern was, "You never talk to me anymore. Do you even love me? I guess I'm just not a priority." And every time he'd shut down further, I gave him one tool. Switch blame to vulnerability. So next time she felt that wave of fear, she texted, "I know you've got a lot on your plate. I've been feeling a little distant and missing us. Just wanted you to know I'm here when you're ready to reconnect." He responded an hour later. "I'm so sorry. You've been on my mind. I've just felt overwhelmed and didn't want to dump it on you." They had a long talk that night. Honest, tearful, connected. Not because she forced it, but because she created the emotional tone that invited it. Final thoughts. You now know the most important emotional dynamic in a relationship. Safety creates connection. Pressure destroys it. This doesn't mean you suppress your needs. It doesn't mean you walk on eggshells. It means you lead with softness, not sharpness, with honesty, not heat. You're not responsible for how he responds, but you are responsible for how you show up. And when you show up from a grounded, emotionally safe place, you become the one woman he feels truly himself with. That's not about being low maintenance. That's about being emotionally wise. What's next? Now that you've seen what men really crave, now that you know how to create emotional safety, and now that you've learned the trap to avoid, it's time to put it into practice. Go back through these steps. Try them the next time you feel that familiar tension. Watch what happens when you shift the energy. Watch how he softens. Watch how he leans in. You're not here to chase love. You're here to attract it by being the woman who knows how to hold space, not just fill it. And that is the kind of love that lasts.